Hey everyone, it's Megan and Walker at Full Spectrum Laser, and welcome to Laser Talk Live.
Woohoo!
So today we're going to break it down, go a little bit simple, so if there's any beginners out there, you'll know the gist of what's going on when it comes to lasers. So we're talking laser applications and choosing the right laser system for your application, really.
Because we have so many lasers and so many applications.
And so little time. So we're going to try to get it all in here. So let's just start off with laser applications in general. When it comes to CO2 mostly, we're going to talk about that. And we have some great picture examples that I just wanted to go through.
Perfect.
So we can just talk about them and you guys can get an idea of what's going on. So that's not them. Those are the vectors. It's okay, Charles messed it up. All right, there we go. So this is actually paper. I made this for a buddy of mine and his wife. They got married, so I took some vector art, put their faces on it, and that's a white piece of paper, and then acrylic, and then a gray piece of paper, acrylic, black paper,
That's
and
so
then
nice.
another piece of acrylic. Thank you.
Yeah, that looks really nice.
Then I engraved the moon in the back and painted it a little, but it's really cool because you put it next to the window and that moon glows.
Wow, that looks beautiful.
They loved it. I think it's awesome. It's super clean, and that's what I like about paper. It's really cheap and you can achieve some really good looking product with
Yeah,
it.
and you can do so many details because it's so easy to get that detail in there.
Oh yeah, and it holds really well, and the laser's so precise, and you can dial in those power settings so good that it's not going to burn it up. So here is a fabric application. I thought this was really neat. They took a piece of felt, put it in a pro machine, and then they just put words together.
A word scarf. I like it.
I know, just
Think
imagine
it'll
you could
keep
like
'em warm?
hashtag something.
Hashtag
Like-
perfect for me as a social
Yeah.
media person.
So I like this idea. You could put all the things that associate, your personality. This is like literal style, wearing your style. I
love
this
it.
one. Then we have leather, of course. You can engrave leather and cut leather really nicely. I do a lot of leather work, and the only bad thing is it smells a little bit because it's, burning flesh.
Yeah,
But
dead animal.
despite that, leather products, they're always really, people see leather and that's like, oh, it's really nice and it's going to last for a long time compared to a cheaper vinyl.
Yeah, and you can make some really beautiful things. I see a lot of jewelry and notebook covers, pens where they're covered in the leather and then
yeah.
it's engraved around that. So
What I
really
like
think
about
leather's
leather
cool.
is you can literally just wrap it around anything, like you said. So
Yeah.
if you can't engrave that pen, you can engrave the leather, wrap it around.
Flasks,
Flasks.
liquor
is a good one.
flasks, I've seen
Yeah,
that.
if you don't want to mess with Shermark. And then we have acrylic. Acrylic's kind of a baseline for CO2 lasers. It cuts so clean, and really a lot of people use CNC machines to cut acrylic, but the edge is not clear. That's what's cool about lasers and acrylic is when you cut it, that edge is like clear, and when you do it with a CNC, you actually have to hit it with a blowtorch just to get that clear look. So with the laser, it's already doing that.
I did not know that. It lights up so much better with the clear on the edge, so that's
Yes.
really cool.
Yeah, and you can engrave it, cut it, and it's strong and it looks great. And then wood, of course.
Wood.
Anything
of course.
wood.
What everybody always thinks of when they think of laser engraving.
Yeah. And I mean, anything wood you can engrave. You can do all kinds of stuff. And what's good is that it engraves and cuts so well. You can do so many different things with it. And traditionally, cutting wood with like a bandsaw, that's a total pain. So precision with the lasers and wood is the best. And then we have the morbid and depressing kitty tombstone.
You can do any kind of stone though, right?
Yeah, as long as it's polished, it's going to have a high contrast, because what the laser really does is remove that polished top and show the bare stone underneath. And I've even clear coated some rocks, and it's got the same output. So
That's
you don't
awesome.
have to polish it. Rest in peace, Patches.
Poor patches. Oh my goodness.
And then rubber. I couldn't find a good one, so I used one of our projects from our projects page. And we also have a video on how to make and work with rubber and do stamps. So if you want to check that out, It'll be up in the upper left-hand corner.
Perfect.
So rubber, a lot of people don't use rubber. And
No,
I think
it's not
cool.
very popular. I don't know why. But personalized stamps are huge. So you could
Yes.
really build a business out of that. I mean, weddings, everybody wants a personalized stamp with them and their significant other's names.
Just imagine like going to like an exclusive, party, and then they got a stamp, custom
Yes,
stamp
that
it
would
up.
be awesome.
I like it. I think here we go. Now we have the SIR mark. So if you have a CO2 and you want to do metal, you can do it with the SIR mark application that's going to fuse the SIR mark to the metal. So it's not engraving any depth, but it is putting that mark on the actual metal piece.
So it's transferred over from the paint, How does that work?
So it's either painted, sprayed on, or taped on, and then the laser penetrates the SIR mark, and it essentially chemical reaction bonds it to the metal. If you
Okay.
check out their website, there's a lot more information on it, and yeah, it'll make more sense.
Very interesting.
Facebook hellos.
Oh, Facebook hellos.
Yeah, we have a bunch of
Jeanette,
people.
hello.
Jeanette and John.
Ryan.
Congrats on setting up your new Muse. That's so exciting.
Yay.
Hope
Yeah.
you can start getting it working by the time we're done here.
Oh, he will. And Joy. What's up, Joy?
And Scott, of course. Thank you, Scott, for
Hello,
being here.
Scott.
Hi, Joy. We're glad you're here in particular.
Definitely. So if we want to do bare metal, you can't do the CO2. But you can do the fiber, which we also have. So we have our fiber machines, the Galvo fiber that does metal. Bare metal, you can see this is a clutch cover for my motorcycle. I literally just took this thing off, cleaned it, put it under there, and put the design I wanted on.
And it looks so good. So clean and so crisp without much effort at all.
I love it.
I love
Looks super cool. I know, I did the hunt, like I just started using it. I mean, this is probably my third time. It's extremely easy.
I
And
love the fiber. I can't wait to learn how to use it. I've only been doing the CO2 so far, but
Yeah.
should be soon.
It's honestly like I'm blown away how fast it is and how amazing it is. It's like some sci-fi stuff, really, how fast it is.
Love it.
I love it. And then if you want to cut metal, you have a handful of options. You can do your 150 watt CO2 tube that we have on our flatbed system. That'll cut up real thin metal like this Knight here. He's actually a puzzle that they cut flat and then you kind of fold him and put him together.
So he's not life-sized.
No, he's like
Okay,
teeny tiny.
I was thinking that was very impressive.
Yeah,
but
it's still
that's really
impressive because the
cute.
detail they get in like this guy this big is crazy. I love these puzzles, but they're so hard to put together.
I don't doubt it. It looks
And it's like
it.
a McDonald's cheeseburger. It never looks like that when you're done. Like
Too bad,
when
too
you get
bad.
it. But if you want to do that, you have the 150 watt CO2 tube, or if you want to cut like thick metals or up to a 1/4 inch, you have the compact fiber. And then that's big boy toy stuff. You're cutting brackets, for giant machinery, stuff
Really
like that.
industrial.
Very industrial.
Very useful things.
Yeah, metal, the price goes up, right?
Yeah.
Like, you cut metal stuff, it's going to be cooler and more expensive.
But you can do so much.
Oh.
So much with it.
Oh yeah, metal is awesome. So, now we're going to talk about what vector cutting is.
Okay.
So, there's two different options when it comes to laser, and one is vector cutting, and that's obviously cutting. So, we have a couple of picture examples to show you on what that is. So, the red line is representative of the vector. It follows the path to cut the material. That's a lot different because it's a vector format. It's got anchor points and curves, and essentially you're just creating a map, like a trail for the laser to follow. And it's that simple. We have another example. Nope, that's raster. I think we have a cut of a mandala on there. That's a raster. No? Okay. So vector cutting is that simple.
All right.
If you guys have any more questions about this stuff, we have a great ebook. I actually stole these pictures from our ebook, and it's really good.
Oh, you can also just go ahead and write your comment during this live video, and we'll answer it right here and right in front of you. So
I am really surprised on how, I helped make the ebook, and it's still really good. Like, I can't believe we did
I love
such a good
using
job.
it.
So, so raster image is a lot different. It's not, it's pixel data. So it's like a JPEG that you find like just a common photograph, and it's using that pixel data, and the laser travels a little differently. It goes back and forth and just creates that line by line.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like a traditional printer when it goes back and forth, but it's using a laser.
Which is much
A
more
CO2
exciting than a
laser, yeah.
traditional printer.
And when you see a laser output, the black is always going to be the laser's on, and then the laser's off. So there's only real on-off output with the laser, but you can make rasters a little more complicated if you want to do a dither. So we have a picture of a dither. That's what it's going to come in on a basic without a dither.
Mm-hmm.
That's what a photo is going to come in. Black and white threshold you can play with and change that, but the other image is going to show you what it looks like after it's dithered. Ooh, that looks beautiful.
Much better, yeah. You can tell
awesome.
it's a dog now.
Yeah. Once it's dithered, it brings out all those different tones.
Mm-hmm.
And what it's really doing, because the laser can only go on and off, is breaking those different scales up into dot density.
Okay.
So it's like an old school newspaper.
Mm-hmm.
All they did was print more dot density to get more black, and then less to get gray and white, and so forth. And what's really awesome is still picking up the different color of the husky's eyes. He's got the
Oh yeah, the
one
blue
brown eye
and a
one.
different colored
Yeah.
eye. Very interesting.
Yeah, so you can still subtly see that, which is really cool.
Hmm.
And then I wanted to focus onto RE3's raster and vector options. It's got a little circle around it for Charles. There we go. So when you load a file, it's going to have, if it has the data, it's going to pick up your bitmap data and your vector data. So those are broken down inside the project's file into two different things, and that's where you select them. You can see it's highlighted is the bitmap data, and then the other is the vector data. And those you can select different power settings for. And that's how you break those things down. You can see the one highlighted is visually turned off, and so it's not being represented in the actual work area.
If it's visually turned off, will it still cut it?
It won't. So if you
Okay.
visually turn it off, it won't cut it either. So it won't engrave that actual raster because it's turned off visually.
Good to know.
It's all about visual representation when it comes to RE3, and that's what I like about it. What you see is what's going to come out on the laser. So.
A couple more people are.
Oh yeah. Hi Amber and Renee. Glad
Amber.
you're here listening to us today.
Yeah, it makes me happy that like people get amused and then they
Yeah.
start watching. Like,
I
Amber's
love
getting
it.
hers on Thursday.
yeah, that's very
Wonderful.
cool.
That's so exciting. What are you going to make first? Let us know.
Yeah, share it, and then you could win the weekly contest.
Oh yes, that's all. We have that every week. If you want to enter, you can post a picture of one of your projects to Twitter or Instagram, and we choose a different exciting project every week. And we'll be telling you our weekly winner at the end of this show. So
Yeah.
that's very exciting.
So now I just wanted to talk about, in general, choosing the right laser for your application. So, if you're getting started, you don't. There's a lot of different people out there, right? You could just want a laser. You don't know what you want to do, but it's cool, so you want to make stuff. So definitely start out with a hobby machine, possibly, and then maybe work yourself up.
What if I want to start making things for a business right away?
So, if you want to start like an Etsy business, and your product's going to be smaller than 20 by 12 inches, then I would get the hobby.
Okay.
The hobby or the Muse. Whichever one you want. That's more used for like a side business or something like that. And then if you're going, let's say that takes off. You're making big, cool things. You need to run the laser all the time. I would upgrade to a pro system because those are made to last for a long time. Obviously, the hobby laser is as well, but those pro machines are built like tanks.
So if I'm looking to run it for 8 hours a day, every day, I would want to go with a pro rather than a hobby series laser?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think you're catching on.
I'm learning. I'm starting to learn a little more.
So, pro for running it like crazy.
Okay.
If you're knocking out, I don't know, Ohio coasters all day, every day, get a pro. And then obviously if you need to engrave metal, we have the fiber, the galvo fiber, and then the compact fiber if you need to cut thick metals, and then the 150 watt CO2 tube to cut thin steel.
Very awesome. I love all of them.
So you have tons of laser, possibilities. Just really depends on your application and what you want to make.
Got a few questions coming in.
Oh, a few questions.
Yes. Okay. James from Stockton, California says, can you explain what a material test is for?
That's a great question. So the material test is on our website. It's Laser 101, and it's when you first get your Muse or your Pro. The Pro has it built in, which is pretty cool, but the material test for the hobby, you get to test out your material, so like it says. So you throw that on there, it's got different colors to represent different vector strengths, so you can put those different vector strengths on there to see what's going to cut through, what's going to have a nice cut. And then there's also a test for your raster gradients.
Perfect. So it'll get you the perfect settings every time.
Yes. So you just put those different settings in there. I like to go increments of like 10 or 15, and then dial it in from there. Most of the time, there's a slight range. It's a pretty good range of where it's going to cut. It just depends on how clean you want that cut.
Good to know. I'll have to try that on my next project.
Yeah.
Jody from Lakewood, Colorado says, will cold weather change the laser settings I calculated in the summer for engraving wood on my Muse?
So, the laser is actually going to run better in the cold because the CO2 tube is more efficient at a certain temperature. Once it gets out of that temperature, it's going to be less efficient. But in the winter, you want to make sure, like if it's in your garage or some sort of work area that doesn't have some sort of heating, then you want to make sure it's not going to freeze over.
Okay, that's the perfect. Our next question was, can I keep my laser in the garage in the winter if it gets very cold? What if it gets below 0? With Jody from Minnesota. So I'm assuming it gets really cold there.
Yeah, we've had customers call and say that their water in their tube actually expanded and broke their tube. And that's terrible. We don't want that to happen. So I would suggest, like if it was me, you could drain the system every time you use it, so bring it just back into the water cooler itself, or you can actually use a product called Dow Frost that's like an antifreeze that you can add to the water.
Okay, interesting.
So, pretty cool. But if it was me, because I don't like buying other things, I would just
drain it.
Yeah, I would just drain the tube.
Drain it each time.
Yeah, it's really simple.
But other than that, it should be fine to use?
Yeah, it's fine to use. You just don't want anything to freeze over.
You also want to wear a lot of clothes yourself if you're in the garage lasering when it's 0 degrees outside. I don't know. That just wouldn't be my preference.
Yeah, maybe some liquid warmth to help you.
Whew, that would be nice.
Get some jobs done.
Okay, and I think we have.
I think we covered everything. So the weekly contest winner is da, 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 da.
Joy. You've won. Congratulations.
Yay! Woo, woo.
Which may have been why I was over enthusiastic finding out that you were watching our show today.
Oh yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
So congrats on winning. You'll be getting either $250 in FSL credit towards your next purchase, or a free focus lens of your choice, 2.5 to 5 inches, whatever you need for your future projects.
Yeah, boy. Congratulations, Joy. That was a cork purse?
Yes, it was made out of really thin cork material that she engraves and cuts for all different kinds of purses, handbags. They're all really impressive.
Yeah. What machine does she have? Do you know?
The Muse.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
I believe she just got it a few months ago too.
And she's already
and
making
had
cool stuff like that?
a hobby before that. So.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
very
she's
exciting.
Hello, out there.
Okay.
Oh. Hey, what's up, Monica? Thank you for joining us.
And yes, good. Glad you won, Joy. You definitely deserved it this week.
So, Mr. Harrison, I picked up some whiskey barrel lids that I have to glue and put on a base before I can engrave them. All
Very interesting.
Know what that glue
We'll
is?
love to see that.
I'm assuming that he's saying he glues it to something so he can engrave them nice and flat.
We would definitely like to see that.
Well, congratulations, Joy.
Okay.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for watching this week.
All right. So remember to always take the online survey. Watch in the cut. So if you thought that clutch cover was cool and it was super clutch, like this week's winner, then you can check that video out over here where you can watch that engraved live. All the videos are live, so something could mess up.
No in the cuts this week, though.
Oh no.
No in the cuts this week.
No in the cuts this week.
And you know, talk to us on Instagram. Megan's going to be getting
I'm
back to
always
you.
here.
And Facebook.
I'm sorry, between 9 and 6 Pacific
yeah,
time I'm here.
specific.
Otherwise, you may not get an answer from me.
And there's always Laser Talk and Inside the Laser Lab, where we make new projects every week.
With me?
With Scott,
Scott.
the best. He is the best at Full Spectrum. So until next time, guys.
Keep making.
Hey everybody, I'm Walker. Make sure to subscribe to our channel or keep watching the videos. Oh, Scott!